So let's talk real quickly about competition as a disruptor. A lot of really smart people with a lot of money thinking about the law and how to sort of muscle in on the action as well as to improve what has been heretofore a fairly slow-moving, slow-changing profession, okay? So these are some of the companies, just some of the many companies that are out there that are legal service related, legal startups. And one of the things I want to point out to you really quickly is down here where it says 2011. If you look at that timeline about startups founded each year, not much activity really prior to 2011, but then 2011 it jumps up dramatically and continues to increase. So in 2011 in the UK, they passed, well, actually passed it in 2007, but in 2011 it went into effect. And it's called the Legal Services Act in the UK. And what it did is that they deregulated part of their ethics, a lot of their ethics actually, ethics rules. One of them, and the most important being what would be the equivalent of our Rule 5.4, which prohibits non-lawyers from participating in the financial life of a law firm. So in the UK now, non-lawyers can start law firms, they can invest in law firms can be public, have an IPO. In fact, there was an Australian law firm, because they went through deregulation a decade ago. There's a Australian law firm that trades on the Australian stock market, has a 1.2 billion market cap, and is the largest consumer-facing law firm in the world. So this happened in the UK, and there, of course, was I was there in June and studied this and have been studying it for years, but it was a massive event in their legal system. It was a massive disruption. So people in the United States were looking at what happened in the UK, looked at what had already happened in Australia, looked at what was happening in Singapore, looked at what was happening in Canada and other countries around the world who are going through massive liberalization of their legal systems, and they said, okay, this is coming, you know, we're not going to escape this. And so entrepreneurs said, let's figure out how to get in on this. So that's why we see that jump there. In 2012, $66 million was invested in the United States in these legal startups. That number jumped to $458 million the next year, and it's expected to be even higher this year. And to give you some idea of what's going on in some of these players, LegalZoom received $200 million this year for a total now so far of over $400 million invested in their company. Rocket Lawyer, over $50 million. Axiom is a kind of a big law competitor. They've received $28 million. Modria was founded by two former eBay executives. It's an online dispute resolution platform. It's raised $5 million. Shake is a startup, creates contracts that you can create and sign, distribute from your mobile device. It's raised $3 million. WeVorce is a divorce company that is, I want to say, sort of like a collaborative process. Anyway, so they are a startup, and they've raised $2 million so far. And I think I read on their website they've done 100 divorces so far. So now, even more interesting than all that is that there's all this stuff going on, right? So now, just a day or two ago, Sam's Club has partnered with LegalZoom. And what they've done is they've said, well, we're going to partner with LegalZoom, and our members are going to get discounted products from LegalZoom. In addition, if our members want some kind of legal counsel along with our products, which are packaged documents, we will hook them up with lawyers who will also provide counsel at a discount. Intuit is a big, sort of normal non-law company that does business software. And they purchased a company called DocStock, which is essentially like LegalZoom in that they have prepackaged business-related documents. And so that was a recent purchase. And then Walmart in Toronto, Canada, has two of their stores up there, have partnered with a law company called Axis. And this is essentially a little mini law firm that sits in the Walmart store. And people can go there, and right now the kinds of services they're offering are estate planning, wills and stuff, and real estate services. So I'll talk a little bit more about the significance of this in a little bit, but what's all going on here? Well, legal services is a $300 billion a year industry. It's one of the biggest contributors to GDP, and it's been closed. We haven't had a monopoly essentially from the beginning of practice in this country until recently. So and people are seeing the writing on the wall. And the benefit of that has been all this time is that we've only been competing with other lawyers, which in my humble view is not that hard to do. But when you start to compete with big Fortune 500 companies, then the stage has definitely been changed.